Buckle up, everybody, because today we're going deep.
Deep.
Yeah, into a game concept that's like nothing you've ever seen before.
Okay.
It's called Light Fight, and it's this crazy mix of like
Yeah.
high-speed parkour and intense platforming.
Okay.
And oh yeah, did I mention the whole bullet hell thing? It's a 3D Danmaku world.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but there's another layer to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like running and jumping.
Okay.
There's this whole cosmic backstory
Okay.
with primordial energies and a plane of lumina
I see.
and this great darkness thing.
Okay.
And it's not just there for show, like it's woven into how you actually play the game.
What's fascinating is how the mechanics of the gameplay are like tied to this cosmic story, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they built a whole universe where the lore isn't just some separate thing.
Right.
It actually like changes how you move, how you think you know about the world.
Yeah, so let's break it down.
Okay.
First off, the gameplay itself sounds insane. Like we're talking
Okay.
running, climbing, sliding, wall running, grabbing stuff, throwing it around.
Gotcha.
Basically, if you can think of a cool action move, it's probably in this game.
Oh, wow.
And the camera system is nuts.
Okay.
You can switch between first person, third person, even top down.
Wow.
It's like total control over how you see this world.
So you can choose your perspective at any time
Yeah, exactly.
to like fit what's happening and, you know, get a better advantage.
Exactly.
That's so cool. And with all the different modes, like main story arcade time attack
Uh-huh.
and even a music mode,
Yeah,
sounds like there's something for everyone.
totally. Like hardcore speedrunners, casual rhythm game fans. It's all there.
I like it.
But now this is where things get really trippy.
Right.
The art style,
Uh-huh.
it's not your typical spaceships and lasers kind of sci-fi.
Right.
The whole world is built out of these like glowing polyhedra.
Oh, wow.
And these shapes, they're not just random.
Right.
They're inspired by the 7 primordial energies that are at the heart of the lore.
So they've thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
They didn't just go for looks. You know,
Right.
every visual has meaning. Like, take the red primordial, for example.
Right.
It's a tetrahedron,
Like a pyramid.
right? Like a pyramid. And its energy is all about fire and like moving super fast.
Nice.
So that connection between shape and energy and how you play,
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
It ties it all together.
It's awesome.
Yeah, okay, so my brain is already kind of fried, but let's try to unpack this lore.
Okay.
So we start with this place called the Plane of Lumina,
Okay.
and it's basically a reality where everything is conscious.
Oh, wow.
Not just living things, but like even geometry is alive and pulsing with energy.
So even shapes have a purpose.
Yeah, it's wild. And then you have these beings called the primordials.
Okay.
And each one embodies a different aspect of reality.
Like the elements?
Kind of, yeah, but more like fundamental forces or concepts.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they were all unified in this thing called the Great Network,
Okay.
sharing their consciousness and experiences. But then this big question comes up.
Oh.
Is it better to be individuals,
Right.
embracing our unique identities, or to merge back into this collective?
So like one big mind.
Yeah, where everyone is connected.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and it gets even tougher because this philosophical debate
Uh-huh.
turns into the Great Light Fight,
Oh, no.
a cosmic war that literally breaks the plane of Lumina,
Wow.
and the Violet Primordial, this kind of wild card,
Okay.
it implodes,
Oh.
creating this rift called the Great Darkness.
Okay.
And now we have 2 civilizations.
Okay.
On one side, the red, green, and blue primordials,
Okay.
who are all about individuality, and they form the Luminari.
Gotcha.
And on the other side, we have orange, yellow, and indigo,
Mm-hmm.
and they merge into one being, the Great Tetrahedron.
The great tetrahedron.
Yeah, and it wants to absorb everything back into itself.
Oh, geez. So it's like,
Individual freedom versus total unity.
yeah, a battle of ideas.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder what happened to Violet. Could its energy still be out there?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the key to fixing everything.
That's a good question.
Okay, so that's a lot to process.
Yeah.
But now here's where things get personal.
Okay.
We've got the protagonist,
Uh-huh.
a Luminari chosen to restore balance.
Okay.
And the cool thing is, you, the player,
Yeah.
you start with just one primordial energy, red, green, or blue.
I see.
And your journey is about gathering the others
Oh, cool.
and understanding all these different facets of existence.
So it's not just like good versus evil.
Right. It goes deeper than that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and the ultimate goal,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily to beat the great tetrahedron.
Really?
It's about reaching this thing called perfect synthesis.
Perfect synthesis. What's that?
It's where you understand and embrace both individuality and unity.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How can you be unique and part of a collective at the same time?
That's the mystery, right?
Yeah.
It seems like the game is saying
Mhm.
these two opposite ideas, they're not actually mutually exclusive. They can exist together and even make each other stronger.
That's deep.
Yeah. But how you actually find that balance,
Right.
that's something you'll have to discover by playing.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Okay, so we have these 7 primordial energies.
Yeah.
We know they're connected to shapes and colors.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me more about what makes them unique.
Okay.
Like, what are these frequencies and chakras the source material mentions?
Think of chakras like energy centers in your body.
Okay.
Each one is tied to different emotions, behaviors, and even physical stuff.
Gotcha.
And each primordial is like tuned to a specific chakra.
Uh-huh.
It shapes how its energy works in the game.
Interesting.
And as for frequencies, well, that's where things get really wild.
Okay.
Imagine each primordial giving off a unique vibration,
Okay.
a specific energy pattern that affects everything around it.
Oh, wow.
And in the game, these frequencies could do all sorts of things,
Like what?
like changing how you move or making the environment react in crazy ways.
I'm picturing this character
Yeah.
running around pulsing with all these colors and vibrations.
Exactly.
It's like a symphony of light and energy.
I love it.
But okay, let's get specific.
Oh.
Give me an example of how these primordials actually play out in the game.
Okay, so let's take the blue primordial.
Okay.
It's a dodecahedron.
A dodecahedron.
Yeah, it's got 12 faces, all pentagons.
Wow.
And its energy is all about smooth, fluid movement like water.
Okay.
So in the game, choosing blue might make you super agile.
Right?
You could dodge attacks effortlessly,
Yeah.
move through tricky environments with grace.
It's about finding that flow state.
Exactly, moving with precision and style.
Okay, so if I want to be like a nimble acrobat, I go blue.
Yeah,
But what if I want to be a speed demon?
then you might like the red primordial.
Right.
Remember, it's all about fire and rapid movement.
Yeah.
Imagine feeling that rush of adrenaline
Uh-huh.
as you channel that energy.
I can feel it already.
Yeah, you become a blur.
Blurring across platforms.
Yeah, and outmaneuvering those enemies.
Okay, so these primordials aren't just cosmetic choices.
No, wait.
They're fundamentally different ways to experience the game.
It's not just what you do.
Right.
It's how you do it.
And as you gather more primordials,
Yeah,
you're not just getting new abilities.
it's deeper than that.
You're expanding how you understand the world
I see.
and unlocking new ways to express yourself through movement.
I like it. And that's where this perfect synthesis thing gets really interesting.
Yeah.
It's not just about mastering each primordial energy.
Okay.
It's about learning to blend them,
Right.
combine their strengths, and like overcome their limits.
So you're not just switching between them,
Very
you're
simple.
integrating them.
It's like a higher level of mastery.
That makes me think about the other primordials.
Yeah.
We've talked about red for speed and
Yeah.
blue for fluid movement.
hmm
But what about the others? What kind of play styles do they offer?
Okay, so green is all about verticality.
Up and down.
It's represented by the icosahedron,
Okay.
which has 20 triangular faces.
I see.
So in the game, this could mean incredible jumping abilities.
Oh,
Or you could scale walls, leap across huge gaps.
like a superhero.
Totally.
Mm.
And its gemstone is tourmaline.
Totally.
Some tourmalines, like the watermelon variety,
Okay.
have this amazing mix of pink and green.
Oh, wow.
Imagine your character soaring through the air, leaving trails of energy.
Like a watermelon tourmaline come to life?
Exactly. It'd be visually stunning.
Okay, I can totally picture that.
Yeah.
So I've got red for speed, blue for grace, green for jumping.
Mm-hmm.
What about players who like a more strategic approach?
Then the indigo primordial might be their jam.
Okay, tell me more.
It's represented by the small stellated dodecahedron.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a more complex starburst-like shape,
Okay.
and it's all about light.
Interesting.
Specifically, the ability to phase through stuff.
Like a ghost.
Kind as you could bypass obstacles appear behind enemies. Yeah. Or even manipulate light itself to solve puzzles or create distractions.
That's really cool.
So we've got speed, agility, verticality, phasing.
Yeah.
What about the remaining primordials? What sets them apart?
Yeah, let's hear about those.
All right, so orange is embodied by the hexahedron,
Which is just a fancy word for
a cube.
cube. Okay.
And this primordial governs earth and quick accelerations.
So bursts of speed and power.
Are exact, perfect for like a hit and run style.
Gotcha.
And its gemstone is quartz.
Quartz.
There's so many variations.
Well, yeah.
Imagine a character grounding themselves with the stability of smoky quartz,
Uh-huh.
and then bam, launching into a powerful attack.
I like that using the gemstone lore to add another layer to the abilities.
It's all connected.
What about yellow?
Yellow is all about stability and precision,
Okay.
represented by the octahedron,
What does that look like?
like two pyramids stuck together at their bases.
Okay, I can see it.
And in gameplay, this could translate to enhanced balance,
Right.
perfect aim, or even the ability to create force fields.
So like a defensive powerhouse.
Exactly. And its gemstone is garnet.
Garnet.
Some garnets, like Savorite, have this vibrant green hue.
Oh, cool.
Picture a character radiating a green aura of pure focus,
Uh-huh.
unwavering against any attack.
Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yeah.
Each primordial isn't just connected to a gameplay style, right?
It's also visually represented by its shape and gemstone.
This level of detail is amazing.
It's incredible.
But what about Violet?
Ah, Violet.
The one that imploded and created the Great Darkness.
That's where things get really mysterious.
Okay.
Violet is represented by the great stellated dodecahedron.
Another mouthful.
Yeah, even more intricate and starburst-like than indigo.
Oh, okay.
And it embodies spirit, the ultimate unifying force.
Spirit.
It's associated with the teleportation and the crown chakra,
Which is all about...
transcendence and connection to the divine.
Wow.
And its gemstone is fittingly diamond.
Of course, the most brilliant and valuable of them all. So a character who can teleport radiating pure white light,
Yeah.
blinking in and out of existence.
Pretty epic, right?
That's a pretty epic visual.
But if Violet imploded, does that mean its energy is gone?
Yeah,
Or could the protagonist somehow access its power?
that's a good question.
It's something the game will probably explore.
Okay,
Remember, the goal is perfect synthesis,
right.
understanding and integrating all the primordial energies.
Hmm.
And achieving that might mean reconciling with Violet's legacy,
Interesting.
maybe even healing the rift it created.
So the protagonist could become like a new Violet.
Possibly, but there's more.
Okay.
The source material mentions an 8th primordial.
An eighth one,
Yeah.
ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet, what's the deal with that?
That's where things get really wild.
Okay, lay it on me.
Ultraviolet is described as having a spherical form,
A sphere.
encompassing all frequencies, all elements, all crystals, even metals.
Wow.
It's connected to every chakra,
Every chakra.
and it governs all locomotion modes.
All locomotion mode. And its chakra is labeled Divine Gateway.
Divine Gateway, that sounds way beyond just teleportation or phasing.
It suggests a level of consciousness beyond even the primordials,
Wow.
a state where all limits are gone and everything is possible.
So maybe the protagonist doesn't just become a new Violet.
Right.
Maybe they ascend to this ultraviolet state.
It's a possibility.
But what would that even look like in the game?
Yeah, what could you do with that kind of power?
That's a question that really sparks the imagination.
Imagine a character who can control all the primordial energies,
Okay.
but also manipulate reality itself,
Wow.
reshape the environment, bend the laws of physics, even rewrite their own destiny.
That's mind-blowing.
It's pretty wild.
But let's step back for a second.
Right.
We've talked a lot about the primordials and their energies.
Mm.
But what about the protagonist's actual journey?
Right.
What are they doing in the game? What kind of challenges will they face?
Well, the source material describes a world full of danger.
Okay.
Remember, the plane of Lumina is broken, and the protagonist is caught in this conflict.
Right, between individuality and unity.
They'll have to navigate tricky environments, solve puzzles, and fight enemies,
What kind of enemies?
those who embody the opposing ideology.
So it's not just about mastering these powers.
No.
It's about using them to overcome obstacles.
Yeah, and making tough choices.
What kind of choices? Like moral dilemmas.
That's where the story gets really good.
Okay.
Remember, the conflict isn't just good versus evil.
Right.
It's about two opposing forces, each with their own valid points.
That's interesting.
The protagonist will have to question their own beliefs,
Uh-huh.
weigh the consequences of their actions,
Right.
and ultimately decide what kind of future they want for the plane of Lumina.
So it's not just action and adventure.
It's deeper than that.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
Exactly.
But what about the enemies?
Yeah.
We know they're connected to the Great Tetrahedron,
Mhm.
but what are they actually like? Are they mindless, or do they have their own motivations?
The source material calls them corrupted manifestations
Corrupted manifestations.
of the orange, yellow, and indigo energies,
I see.
suggesting they were once Luminari,
Oh, wow.
but they got consumed by the great tetrahedron's desire for assimilation.
So there's a tragic element to it.
Yeah, it's not just fighting faceless enemies.
Right.
You're confronting beings who've lost their individuality.
Your sense of self.
Exactly.
That makes you wonder, are you fighting to defeat these beings? Or are you trying to save them?
Good question.
To break them free from the great tetrahedron?
That adds a whole other layer to the moral choices.
It ties back to that question of individuality versus unity.
Yeah.
Can you redeem those who've been consumed by the collective? Or is it too late for them?
That's a tough one.
It makes the game so much more than just mindless action.
Definitely.
It's a story about choice and consequence.
Yeah.
And the struggle to find balance in a world torn apart.
I like it.
It's like this game isn't just about like mastering these cool powers.
Yeah.
And fighting bad guys.
Right.
It's about wrestling with these big questions about who we are.
Exactly.
You know, and how we fit into the world.
The developers have taken this classic conflict, individuality versus unity,
Right.
and they've woven it into everything.
Yeah.
The story, the visuals, the gameplay, even the choices you make.
It's pretty amazing.
It shows how powerful games can be
Yeah.
for exploring these complex ideas and making you think.
I have to say, like, diving into the lore has been fascinating. But I'm also curious about the more practical side of things.
Okay.
Like, we know the game is being developed in Unreal Engine,
Right.
but what else can you tell us about the development process?
Well, from what I've seen, the developers are super passionate about this project.
Okay.
They had this detailed 16-week plan,
Wow.
and they're really emphasizing playtesting throughout.
So they're making sure it's actually fun to play.
Exactly. They want to make sure it's not just visually stunning and thematically deep,
Right.
but also intuitive and enjoyable.
That's good to hear, because sometimes you see games that are all style and no substance.
Yeah, or all substance and no style.
Exactly, but it sounds like Light Fight is aiming for that balance,
Yeah, they're going for the sweet spot.
where the gameplay and the story work together perfectly.
And the fact that they're prioritizing playtesting
Yeah.
shows that they're open to feedback
Right.
and willing to make changes to make the game the best it can be.
Speaking of making it the best, what about the music?
Ah, the music.
We know there's a dedicated music mode,
Mm-hmm.
but what kind of soundtrack can we expect overall?
Well, the sources don't go into specifics about the music itself,
Okay.
but they do mention that each primordial energy has its own unique frequency.
Right.
That makes me wonder if the music will somehow reflect those frequencies.
That's interesting.
Like maybe it changes dynamically as you play,
Yeah.
adapting to your powers and the environment.
So, like, if you're using the red primordial speed, the
Yeah.
music gets more intense.
Exactly, and if you're embracing the blue primordial's flow, it becomes more ethereal and atmospheric.
That would be so cool.
It would make the music feel like an integral part of the experience.
Yeah, not just background noise.
Exactly. It would be part of the gameplay and the storytelling.
That's what I love about this whole concept.
Yeah.
It's so innovative and multi-layered.
It's not just about button mashing.
Right.
It's about exploring a world full of symbolism and meaning.
And philosophical depth.
It seems like the developers are really pushing the boundaries of what games can be,
Yeah.
using this medium to explore big ideas and create an experience that's both intellectually stimulating and totally engaging.
Okay, I'm sold. Light Fight is officially on my must playlist.
Awesome.
But I have to ask, with all these grand concepts and intricate details,
Yeah.
is there anything in the source material that left you scratching your head?
Actually, there are a few things.
Okay, like what?
Remember how the primordials came from this great network?
Yeah.
The one that was shattered during the Great Light Fight?
Right.
Well, the sources don't really explain where this network came from or who created it.
So is it like a natural thing?
Yeah, or divine creation.
Or something else entirely?
We don't know.
That's a good point. It's like we're seeing this glimpse of this vast cosmic story, but there are still these missing pieces.
Exactly. And then there's the question of the point.
The point.
Yeah, the sources mention it briefly,
Okay.
but they don't really explain what it is.
Is it a place, a concept, a source of power?
We're left to wonder.
And what about the Great Darkness itself?
Yes.
We know it was created by the violet primordial imploding, but what is it really?
The sources describe it as both an impenetrable desert
Okay.
and a metaphorical ocean that hides the truth.
So it's a dangerous place.
Yeah, both physically and
I think its
metaphysically.
reality itself could be distorted there.
Scary thoughts.
So many questions, so much intrigue.
It makes you realize that even beyond the awesome gameplay,
Yeah.
the thought-provoking themes,
Mm-hmm.
there's this whole layer of mystery just waiting to be uncovered.
It sounds like this deep dive has only scratched the surface.
Yeah,
I can't wait to actually play Light Fight
me too.
and explore all its hidden depth.
And the best part is,
Yeah.
the journey doesn't end when the game is over.
Right.
The questions it raises, the ideas it explores,
Mm-hmm.
these are things we can keep thinking about and discussing long after the credits roll.
Exactly. It's not just a game.
It's a conversation starter
It makes you think about your own beliefs.
and grapple with some of life's biggest mysteries.
In a world where so much entertainment feels shallow and forgettable,
Yeah.
that's incredibly refreshing.
It reminds us that games can be more than just a distraction.
Right.
They could be powerful tools for self-reflection,
Yeah.
personal growth, and connecting with others.
And who knows, maybe playing Light Fight will even inspire some people to create their own worlds.
That would be awesome.
Worlds full of wonder and mystery.
And endless possibilities.
Well, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive,
It's been a journey.
but this is just the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah.
I encourage everyone to check out the source material, delve deeper into the lore.
And let your imaginations run wild.
Remember, the true power of Light Fight
Yeah.
lies not just in the game itself,
But in the questions it sparks.
and the conversations it inspires.
So keep exploring
Keep questioning.
and keep the light burning bright.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep diving deep.